Call meeting to order. Will you please stand for the invocation. First one to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brother Hunter, would you please come forward and then lead us in our invocation? Brother Hunter's from the Christian Church here in West Liberty.
Let's pray. Father God, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for being asked to come here and deliver this invocation. Father, I pray that in all the manners of the business that will be conducted here tonight, God, I pray that it is honoring to you. Father, I pray that you give courage for each person here to do always the responsible thing, to do always the thing that is honest, to do always the thing that we know to be right and we know to be true. Father, I pray that you give wisdom to these people who make decisions regarding our county. Father, help them to know it is a tremendous responsibility, but you have allowed them to be in these positions of power. And so, Father, now it is on them to act accordingly to the power and the responsibility that they have been given. Father, I ask that your Holy Spirit guide this meeting and help all of these people. And Father, I just pray that they can be, as they have been called to be, a blessing to you and a blessing to this community. Father, it's in your Son's name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, be seated. All right, Madam Secretary, we have a forum.
Yes, we do.
All right, moving along. Everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes yet? Get a chance. I'll entertain a motion. Ready to
Don't
sing?
leave any minutes.
Did you all see it? Do a motion to table minutes.
I'll make a motion to table the minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to table the minutes until the next meeting. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up, we got first line of guest speakers will be our friends from CAECO to discuss the insurance. Sue, are you going to be speaking?
Sure. Yes.
All right. Please come up, and there's a mic on the podium there, so we can get you in the audio and everybody can hear you clearly, especially those at home.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk with you. My name is Sue Porter, and I'm a regional agent with CAECO Insurance Programs, and I represent the property and liability, all lines of your property and liability insurance, which I'll talk more about here in a second, and your workers' comp insurance. I want to introduce my colleagues that are here with me tonight, Kathy Marshall and Michelle Barrett. Both of them you'll see, if you haven't seen, you'll see around a lot. We're the three stooges, maybe? I don't know. No, I shouldn't say that. You'll see us a lot at their conferences, and we work together and in service to you guys. So what I'd like to talk to you a little bit about tonight is about what insurance we have placed for the county. What we do, what Kathy and Michelle and I work on for you and with you. So I'll start with that, and then if you all have any questions whatsoever about any of those lines of coverage I'm going to talk about, you've got one already. Yes.
I have a handout in the material.
Uh-huh.
It's got the renewal information
Okay,
on it.
that's a real. Mm-hmm.
There's Gmail at the top of it, so it has 3 or 4 pages about the insurance.
Yep, I've got that as well here, but, what I was gonna, we can talk about that too, as far as the renewal, goes specifically, but I'd like to start with just kind of talking to you guys about the types of coverages we're talking about. All lines of coverage that are covered for these premiums that you're looking at. Okay, so I'll start with your property. CAECO provides through your CAECO insurance programs, which I'll say that right now that your CAECO insurance programs are owned by you. They're owned by you and they're here because of you. Way back in the 1980s, we had county governments that were coming to us and saying, you got to help us, CAECO, because we can't find insurance anywhere. If we can find it, we can't afford it. And they're not even providing the coverages that we need. So we're paying for something and then we have gaps in our coverage and our exposures, and we're not getting the coverage that we need to keep our counties fiscally sound and pay our claims. So Keiko went out in search of a way to make that happen, and we created our insurance programs. And we created 2 separate programs, our property and liability insurance, which we call CAF, Keiko All Lines Fund, and our workers' comp insurance programs. So you guys have been members of our programs for many, many years. Gosh, I have to go back and look and see, but we created the programs in 1979 for the workers' comp and 1987 for the property and liability, and you guys have been one of the first members of counties that have been in our program for well over 20, 30 years here. So we appreciate that support, because without your support, we can't keep our programs financially sound and going and viable for the future. And we never want to go back to having those hard times where counties can't find that coverage. So your participation is vital to these programs. But we give back in the sense that we give coverage and protection to you guys that you can sleep at night, because you know that whatever happens, the Keiko's going to be there for you and back you up with the coverage that you need to keep you financially sound, to keep your assets protected. So having said all that, your property, we cover your property for 100% replacement costs for your buildings and your contents. And as you can see on the sheet there, that you have $68,634,273 in physical property and contents assets. That includes property in the open, if you have fencing, lighting, fields, signage, things like that. So that's the total of the county assets that we provide coverage for. Your equipment, your mowers, your tractors, your backhoes, things like that, your tools that you have are also provided coverage through your Keiko insurance programs. And those are also included there. You have a low deductible program. It's a $500 deductible if you have a property claim or an equipment claim. Okay. We also cover your autos. We cover all the county autos for liability and physical damage. You have $3 million limits per occurrence on your auto coverage, and you have full coverage on all of your vehicles as well too, with $500 deductible on your autos. It looks like you've got 49 autos. You've got more. One of the reasons why you'll see a little bit increase in your premium this year, you've got more higher property values, and you've got higher auto values and more autos. So we cover those for you. We also cover your employee liability, your employment practices liability, your errors and omissions coverage for the decisions that you make as leaders of the county. We provide coverage for you for law enforcement coverage, sheriff, jail, those types of cover of law enforcement liability that are included under your policy as well too. You have low deductibles there. You have a $1,000 deductible on all lines of the coverage I just mentioned is errors and omissions coverage, law enforcement liability, employment practices liability, and general liability. General liability is coverage for your negligence or deemed negligence that causes property damage or bodily injury to another person outside the county. So those are part of your coverages that are all included in your package that you have that's under the Keiko All Lines Fund, under CAF. We also include cyber liability. Cyber liability is an very important coverage. I don't know if any of you all were able to attend our little liability seminar that we had last week on cyber liability. There's a lot of good information, and we try to have those types of seminars for you on a regular basis so you have a good understanding of the exposure that you have in that area. So we provide that coverage for you under your package with Keiko as well. Did I leave anything out on that CAF, under CAF? I think, I'm sorry? Earthquake and flood? Yeah, that's under your property coverage too. We provide earthquake and flood coverage. Our earthquake coverage has zero deductible to it. So when a lot of our counties experience a lot of flooding in your properties, and as long as it's not covered in a federally designated flood zone A, those have to have specialty insurance for those, but your other properties all have coverage. And of course, back in 2012, you guys experienced our insurance and how that's affected and what's that for. I came here and saw all that myself and the devastation. We were talking about that this morning as we came through this area too, down the street and down Main Street of what that was. And we worked with you guys and got you back quickly. As a matter of fact, I remember coming through here when all the private businesses and homes and things for several months later were not being built back as quickly as what the county property had been done. So we were happy to be there and support the county during those hard times. So that's the coverage that you have under our property and liability. One other thing I will tell you too that's a good perk of our coverage I like to talk about is our non-owned auto coverage. A lot of people either forget about that or don't know it, but if you are using, or any county employee or fiscal court member or even volunteer of the county working on your behalf, if you're using your own personal vehicles on county business on behalf of the county and you are involved in an accident, you can turn that claim in to the county, to us first, and not your own personal insurance. We pay on a primary basis. So you have that full 3 million limits of liability that you have under your auto for your own autos that are also extend to you when you're using your own personal vehicle on behalf of county business. So that's something that nobody else does, and we give physical damage coverage as well as liability coverage for that. So you can feel good about if you had an accident in your own personal coverage that you don't have to jeopardize your personal coverage for that. So that's a nice perk of our policy. And then the workers' comp, of course, workers' comp is, we follow statutory regulations with that. We pay for employees' injuries, we pay the medical costs, we pay the indemnity payments, and heaven forbid, if something happens, an employee dies while on the line of duty, which happens, that's happened obviously last year in Floyd County in Prestonsburg, that we saw that happen, and there's a death benefit that's paid to the family as well for that. So we try to support all of the exposures of the county, and we're there for you when you have a claim. And we have great loss control people that I know you guys work with a lot, and our claims people, and our job here is to serve you so that you can serve the citizens of Morgan County. So that's the kind of coverages that we provide, and that's what you were looking at here, what we sent the other day. I think Kathy sent to the judge and Linda. It kind of gives an overview of the coverages of how things are changing, what exposures have been increased for the coming year, and what you all can put in your budget for that. One of the things I will tell you on your liability, you guys carry 3 million limits of liability on all your lines of liability. That is the standard of our program. That is what every county around you has the same limits of liability that you do. So those are high limits, those are standard limits of our program that you guys have. So you can feel comfortable that you're well insured in that area. Okay?
All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anybody have questions for Sue? No?
Yeah. Thank you again. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you.
Thank you, Sue, and we really appreciate what KCO did when they came in here after the tornado and everything KCO does for us.
Thank you.
All right, moving down the list, who else we got? Magisterial reapportionment, Gateway Ad, Josh Farrell, and Jocelyn. Where are they at? Please come forward. Welcome to the Fiscal Court, Morgan County.
Good evening. As Josh is passing out those packets, my name is Jocelyn Gross. I'm the Director of Planning at Gateway Area Development District. And we are getting ready to start the reapportionment process for our county magistrate and commissioner districts. That starts May 1st. And the ad has been working with other counties across the region to help them get ready for reapportionment. And we've got, I think, a presentation and some information and some maps to show you what your existing magistrate boundaries are and the differences in population within those districts. And so reapportionment is where we take the population from the last census, the 2020 census, and we calculate the total population of each one of your districts to determine that those populations in each district are as nearly equal as possible. And we do that by doing an average, taking what your average population per district should be and setting a range of plus or minus about 5%. And so if you go, Judge, do they have these packets in their handouts? Okay, so you should have this packet in your handout. And if you go a couple pages into it, there's a chart that looks like this that has all of the counties, the total population, and the total number of districts in your county, and then what population you need to have in each of your districts to have a balanced population. So in Morgan County, in 2020, the total population was 13,726. So for a perfectly balanced population, you would have 2,745 people in each one of your districts. But if we plus or minus that 5%, that's between 2,608 and 2,882. So that's kind of what you're looking at. And Josh just handed out some additional information to you, including a map, and there is a map that includes all of your districts, and there is a chart on the upper left-hand corner of that map, and there are two bars There are 2 red lines on that chart, and that's showing the 5% range that your districts need to be in. And so using the 2020 population counts, you have one district that has a lot, and that is District 1. But this is also, just keep in mind, this is also the district that includes the prison.
Prison population.
That's the prison population.
But if we take that prison population out, it's still
It's
outside.
still outside of the little equilibrium.
Yeah.
And so the way the process works, so this is just kind of giving you an idea of what your districts look like now, what the population in your districts look like now, what adjustments need to be made. And the additional maps behind that show the boundary lines of your districts as best as we could draw them based on the new census block boundaries. Because one of the qualifiers that we're doing this year when we draw our magistrate districts is that we cannot split a census block. So we had to follow the census block boundaries. They didn't exactly match your boundaries from the last reapportionment. So the boundaries aren't just exactly right, but we met with your county clerk and tried to get them as close as possible and to move the census blocks as nearly as possible as we could to get them as most like what they were originally. And so that's kind of the foundation where we're starting. That's our base where we're starting. And so the process moving forward, the Morgan County Fiscal Court will have to appoint a group of at least 3 commissioners to review and evaluate these boundaries and to make a recommendation to the fiscal court of what the new district should be, if there should be any changes to those districts. And so the way that process will start is first the county will advertise in the newspaper that you're going to be initiating this process, and you will advertise the date of the meeting of when you will appoint the commissioners. That has to be advertised for 7 days, and then you'll have your meeting. You'll appoint your commissioners. So starting the date that your commissioners are appointed, those commissioners will have 60 days to meet and prepare a report back to the fiscal court of what your new magistrate district should be. So you have to have at least 3 commissioners, and they have to be in separate districts. So 3 commissioners in 3 separate districts is what the requirement from the statute is. And then once they meet and they review the district boundaries, we will be facilitating that with them. We will be working with them to help them draw those boundaries, to help them write descriptions, to help them calculate the population of the proposed boundaries. And we will actually prepare the report based on their recommendations that will be submitted back to the fiscal court within 60 days of their appointment. And then the fiscal court will have 60 days to review that report and to either pass an ordinance to accept it or to not accept it. And then after the fiscal court accepts it, it's filed with the county clerk, and then the public has about 20 days to file any kind of any opposition or anything like that to the report. And that's kind of the gist of what the process is like. And as I mentioned, your District 1 is really off on population. There's a lot of population in District 1. We think that we can work with the State Board of Elections if necessary to make an exception for the amount of the prison population. That's something I can't confirm or anything like that, but that's something that we will work with the county clerk and the commissioners to check on that. We will also help the county clerk prepare the new descriptions for these magistrate districts. We will help them prepare the maps and the addressing to let folks know if their district has changed, any information has changed. We will also help them make adjustments to the precincts as well. We will prepare all the reports and all the submittals that will go to the Kentucky Secretary of State and the State Board of Elections. So that's kind of, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. And Judge, I didn't know if there's anything else that you might want me to cover.
No, I think you did a pretty good job discussing the reapportionment. Does any magistrates or anybody in the audience have any questions for Jocelyn about this?
I've got a question. Who chooses the commissioners?
You do.
We do.
Randy's gonna bring. Let us give us some names.
So the fiscal court will appoint the commissioners for this.
We gotta do that. We gotta do that on May 12th, right?
May 12th.
We'll
So
have to have a special call meeting.
yeah, so the advertisement that I was speaking about, that'll come out next Thursday on May 4th. Your meeting will be on May 12th. That's when you will officially appoint.
Or is Gateway doing the advertising, or you
Yes,
guys
sir.
got it
We
covered,
got it.
so you're going to the local paper?
Yes.
All right.
So, looking over this, there's really no way to balance it out with 4 and 5 together in one. If one has the most, I mean, to get it at a balance, you're gonna have to take away from one and put it in every district. Is that correct?
Well, we can't talk too much about it right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Can't talk about that part right now.
We can't talk about that, but yeah, I mean, there are, so yeah, so you would have to look and see, we'd have to meet with the commissioners and kind of go through like and I really think, you can see these little white lines kind of crisscrossing across the districts. Those are the census block boundaries. So like the tool, we built a tool to actually help us do this when we're meeting with the commissioners and when we're working with the county clerk. And we've demonstrated it to the county clerk and to the judge to kind of show them how the process works and how the tool works. But like we'll take one block at a time or a few blocks at a time, and we'll move it from one district to another district to see how that makes the population fluctuate. And like we get live updates of the charts and the graphs that show, okay, if we move this area into this district, this is how it's gonna shift it. So we can't really talk about where we should shift the population and where we should shift the districts at, but yeah.
Do the districts have to be contiguous when you're finished?
They do have to be contiguous, and they should be as compact as possible. So what you also don't want is you don't want little strange boundaries going around areas. So they need to be as compact as possible, and they need to be contiguous. That's correct.
Any other questions?
What, do you know what the population of the prison is?
So in the census, okay, so keep in mind that this is census data from 2020, and that's the data that we have to use. So in the census data from 2020, the prison population is one census block, and it had a population of about 1,700.
Okay.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, Jocelyn, appreciate it. Appreciate you and Josh both coming out tonight. Glad to see you guys at my meeting, me instead of me at yours. Tables turned. All right, going on down the list here. Let's now we're going to have the trails people going to come up and speak. Laura, you here?
I'm here.
You got Scott with you? So we got Laura Pack, and from now that stands for MJM, stands for.
McGoffin, Johnson, and Morgan Powerhouse Trail.
You guys hear that? McGoffin, Johnson, and Morgan Trails. So, and Laura is a member of that. And we got Scott Smith here. He's the executive director of First Frontier Trails.
Good, very good.
Yes, thank you very much, Judge.
Good to see you, Scott.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for having us up today. We really look forward to being able to build a partnership with Morgan County. We haven't had a whole lot of contact in the past, and that's partly our fault, but we've been spread really thin. We kind of operate with just a few people on staff right now. We have 18 counties that we cover, so that makes everything kind of tough. But we're really glad to be here today, and I really don't know the extent of what everyone knows about what we're doing, so I'm not completely sure where I should start.
Well, other than me, I don't think, because I've been to some of your other
Yes.
stuff, but I just take it for granted we don't know nothing. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I'll get started and I'll get started and then turn it over to Laura. She's
There you go.
best at that. But
Smart man.
no, we're of course created by the state legislature. We were funded for the first time in 2021. As I said, we operate throughout 18 counties. Our goal is to build an ATV trail system that meanders through all those 18 counties. And it's a pretty tall task at this time, but we're starting to make some headway. We're really glad to see you folks being interested. Really look forward to doing everything we can with you. It's it can create a economic windfall. Everybody's familiar with what's happened in West Virginia at the Hatfield-McCoy Trail system. I spoke with Jeffrey Lusk, who's their director, very briefly last week. He gave me just a few numbers, excuse me, but he said that they sold 95,000 passes last year. So you can just kind of start to wrap your head around what that can do throughout all the small communities, or for us in Eastern Kentucky. Those permits go for, I think over there, either $50 or $26.50 based on if you are an out-of-state or in-state resident.
Right.
So, you know, you can do just a little bit of quick math there and see what that can create. Plus, you know, the real benefit is what it does for the communities. All the opportunities it creates for people that want to become business owners. Cabins, campgrounds, convenience stores, gas stations, whatever.
Outfitters?
Outfitters, yes, definitely. Definitely outfitters. And, you know, I always like to say that it's just limited by, you know, your imagination. You know, whatever you can think of, repair shops, parts, things of that nature. It's just, it can be a real benefit for us in all of Eastern Kentucky. I'm from Leslie County, so, you know, we're very small over there.
Yeah.
The loss of the coal industry hit us really hard, and you know, we know that this is not going to fill that void, but we feel like it can be a small piece to fill in that.
Right.
But again, like I said, we're really glad to be here. Glad that you guys are interested in working with us, and I look forward to it. I'm going to turn it over.
You
to
guys
Laura.
are based off I think Laura told me this, the Hatfield-McCoy trails and all that. That was what started this.
Correct. We are modeled directly after them, a recreational authority, same way they were created by their legislature.
And they're bringing revenue in and big numbers, right?
Huge.
Yeah. I think the last economic impact study that was conducted by Marshall University, it was close to $40 million.
Real close to 40 million over 6 counties.
So, you know, you kind of just start thinking about that, what that could do for
There's
us.
a piece of that here.
And that's what we're going to do our best to make happen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Locally speaking, so how we connect to Morgan County. I'm from Johnson County. I'm the Johnson County Trailtown Catalyst over there. We have 2 off-road trail systems that we've mapped, and we are working toward the process of legitimizing. We can't market it until it's legitimized. You know, it has to have leases in place so that we can tell the world, hey, we're here, come see us. One of those trails is at Van Leer. The other is at Oil Springs and Hargis. That trail is in Johnson County, Morgan County, and McGoffin County. It makes a nice loop of riding there. Been ridden for years. Everybody locally that rides side by sides will know about that trail and about Sand Lick and the playgrounds and all that good stuff.
Right.
That is our potential moneymaker. That's the thing that's going to bring people in here. We now entertain groups from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Wisconsin. We had a group from Utah not too long ago. They love to come here. They love to ride the trails. They love the culture. They love the laid-back atmosphere. And for once in our lifetimes, we could keep that money. We're not sending it back to another company on the East Coast or somewhere like that. It's an opportunity for us to be masters of our own destiny. We can grow our own businesses, keep our money locally in Eastern Kentucky. I think you mentioned the KRS was designed to strengthen Eastern Kentucky. So it is for the mountain region. There's great riding here. There's great riding everywhere in Eastern Kentucky, and we can connect those trails and far surpass what Hatfield-McCoy has done.
Right.
So I'm very excited. You know, I came and talked to you a long time ago, Judge. I said, hey, we need you on board because we can grow this thing. We can grow toward Moorhead. They're very interested in connecting.
Yeah. Right now, Morgan County is a roadblock, more or less, between Round and Menifee and everybody else, right?
That is very excited to get on board. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to connect. We got to get these places connected.
Yeah. Now that trail that you just talked about, I guess it's the MJM trail?
MJM.
Where does that come into Morgan at? Is that
Sand Lick.
it comes in at Sand Lick?
Yep. And that's
Does it go around by the lake there and then
It does.
over?
It actually, part of the trail that is in Morgan County is the old Jenny Wiley Trail.
The old Jenny Wiley Trail. Huh?
Everybody, I think, probably over the age of 12 is familiar with that.
Yeah.
They've all been out and played on it or rode on it or, you
Yeah.
know, families ridden on it. It's some great riding. It's just fantastic riding. And it's very attractive. Once people come and ride it, they can't wait to get back.
Now, right now, are you guys going into that trail now?
We are, yes.
All right, now, by Morgan coming into it, what will that do with that trail particularly?
Well, the part of the trail that is in Morgan County is part that we still need to be having leased.
Yeah.
Have the private landowners lease. Now, the perk to that leasing, the number one perk for me and for most people, folks are already riding that trail. They're already riding on folks' property. It's very, very hard if you wanted to keep them off to keep them off. Most people don't. They allow the riding. But when you sign that lease, you are indemnifying yourself. The responsibility, the liability, and the maintenance then will all go to First Frontier.
First Frontier.
Yeah. So, and as well as the promotion, and there's a lot of perks to it.
Now, now we got that trail, what about opening up other trails, like connecting something from Round to, or for say from Menifee or somewhere in that direction going across?
Yeah, it's just a matter of mapping it, laying it out, finding out who owns the property, approaching the property owners with the lease agreement, getting the best connection. And like Scott said, this is an economic development plan first and foremost. So the idea is to provide people with the opportunity to set up businesses, connect to their already existing businesses, connect to communities. There's no cap on what could be gained economically by a trail system going through Morgan County.
So right off the bat, we're going to get that area over in Upper Sandwick and Oker and be able to do something with that.
Absolutely.
And
this is, I want to
Yeah.
add too, it's not just side-by-sides. Johnson County, our trail town, we deal in kayaking, horseback riding, bike riding. We have all of it.
That's what I wanted to do. I'd like to see all that.
Yeah.
Including whether it's horse, bikes, whatever they want to get out there and ride, but hiking. And, I also talked to, one of the things I envisioned was, we bring these folks in here. If we got outfitters or folks, we got people here ready to swell and do hunting and stuff like that. If we could set something like that up and have them come in, do a ride, come in, do a quail hunt during the ride and get back on the trail and finish it.
You're only limited by your imagination.
Right,
if you can dream it up,
my imagination can go.
Yeah, mine too. The possibilities and what you see in other trail systems like Hatfield McCoy, Spearhead, Windrock, the possibilities are limitless, and they're never limited to just motorized off-road vehicles. It's always a mixture of things because you want to entertain everyone that comes and have something for everyone. So we're excited. We're very excited. We've had that trail in the working now for 5 years and had not gotten very far with Morgan County, as I explained to you. And it's a vital part of that trail, and there's so much more to be gained getting over to Menifee County and into Brown County. So much more to be gained.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any questions for Lara or Scott?
Yeah, the Junior Wiley Trail, that comes through my property, and does it still exist?
It does exist. There's no maintenance of it. And as a matter of fact, just this past year, and I say in summer of 22, Sheltoy Trace started an effort to reopen that Jenny Wiley Trail and hoping to add to it, get some friends groups to support it and clean it and maintain it. Now the part of the Jenny Wiley Trail that our trail is on, of course, will be maintained.
Because I know they used to come up through and cut the trail out all the time.
Right.
Nobody's came to it.
It was a great idea in 1986 when they came up with the Jenny Wiley Trail. Fabulous idea, but they lacked the component of maintaining it. So, and that happens a lot of times. And with First Frontier Appalachian Trails, our marketed brand name, there'll be maintenance of the trail systems.
Now, there'll be mesas. Are they also patrolled, Fish and Wildlife, something like that?
Fish and Wildlife spoke with us today, as a matter of fact, at our meeting today about developing an MOA where they would be policing the trail.
All right, so they'll be policed. Indemnity and liability will be released over to First Frontier from the property owner. Businesses can set up along the trail.
Yeah.
It's
a pretty win-win situation.
This sounds like a win-win situation to me right now. Of course, we got to go through the process.
Yeah, and it's a fairly simple process. I've provided the judge with a copy of the ordinance. All of the counties that are involved in the trail system now have passed an ordinance in their county stating their desire to be part of the KMRRA. And either the judge can attend or he can appoint someone to attend the regular meetings, develop or identify. I've spoke with Miles before about identifying ride groups here in your county so that you can make those connections, and adopt some roadways if you need to connect trails, and off and running.
All right. Well, we're not doing the ordinance reading tonight, guys.
No.
But it's something to think about, Father, to think about tonight, so we can do it here in the very near future, and I'll get all that information to you too. Thank you. Any other questions for any of the audience? You guys have anything? Any questions?
How do we know where the trails are going through? Like what areas of the town or the county?
Well, the one that is existing now that comes from Johnson County and McGoffin County, we have that mapped. It's called MJM Powerhouse Trail, and you can access that map on our Johnson County Trail Town page. Is the map live on our Facebook page or no?
No.
No, not yet, because it's not all legitimized.
Exactly.
But if you send me a message, I'll send you a copy of that map. The judge will also have copies of the maps. And then as trails are identified and developed, your ride group or your focus group that's helping develop the trail can do what we've done and publish the maps and say, hey, this is where we'd like to have a trail. Are you all interested in participating?
Okay, because I'm a property owner, I was just wondering if you could come.
Are you out at Sand Lick?
No,
We'll talk.
I'm right up here on the Liberty Road.
There is some great property here, and it's a great opportunity for anyone, regardless of their economic standing. There's businesses from ice and wood to lodging and restaurants and resorts, and it's a wonderful opportunity for everyone.
Yeah.
And the judge has my contact information, and I'll provide him with Scott's, and at any time, if you have questions, don't hesitate to call us, and we'll meet again and figure out what we need to figure out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next guest tonight will be Shannon Elam from Morgan County Water District.
Good evening.
Good evening, Shannon. How you doing?
I didn't bring enough coffee. So I'm here tonight to give a report on the Morgan County Water District. So in your folder there, I won't go through everything, but I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. On the right-hand side, you can see our 5-year strategic plan that we developed, that we are currently following. On the left-hand side, I just want to give you all some general information about the water district. First page is the Board of Commissioners that you guys have appointed over the years. Zach Engel is our current longest board member. He's been on the board since 2015. You have Brian Wells, who's currently the chairman of the board. Steve Gunnell's been on since 2018. And then we have 2 new appointments that just started last month. So I wanted to provide that information and kind of see the terms. The commissioner terms are 4 years. So when you appoint someone there for 4 years, and then it's my understanding that it's an automatic renewal until they want to get off or step off. So typically what we've done in the past is I'll go to Linda and say, these 2 are coming up. We just need to approve them, run them through the meeting to get that, and then I submit that to the Public Service Commission. Next page in the packet is our organizational chart, and this just shows you how we kind of broke down each of the jobs. The fiscal court appoints the board members. The Board of Commissioners are the leaders of the district. They're responsible for setting policies. They hire the general manager, which is me, and then they also have the legal counsel and engineering that also support them. So then there's a breakdown of our office operations and also our field operations. Next page, I just want to give you a list of our employees. We currently have 11 employees. Sherdell Holbrook is our oldest employee. She's been with the district for 19 years, so next year she'll be with us for 20 years. But after Sherdell and Donna, you can see we have everyone after them too are fairly new. We currently have 4 licensed operators. They are Andy Legg, he has a Class 2, which our system is rated a Class 2 distribution system. So we're required by Division of Water to have at least one operator that is a Class 2 in order to operate the system. So we have Andy Legg, who's a Class 2 operator. You have John Coffey, who's a Class 1 operator. Myself, I'm a Class 2 operator. And we also have Dean Kennard, who's a Class 1 operator. Dean is actually going next week to Owensboro to test for his Class 2s. So we're hoping that he will be able to pass that. So there's a list of our employees. Next page is our water loss report from last month. Very proud of this. So if you look over, we are a distribution system, so that means we don't make any of the water. We purchase all the water. So we purchase from Cave Run Water Commission over in Menifee County, and then we also purchase from the city of West Liberty. So typically we purchase around 8 million to 10 million gallons a month from the city, 7 to 8 million gallons a month from Cave Run. So you can see there, line item 3, water purchase for last month, we purchased 15 million gallons. We sold 10 million gallons. We had flushing of the system at 314,000 gallons. And we had line leaks or unknown water loss of 4 million gallons. Well, that brought our water loss down to 28%. So I don't know if y'all remember back a few years ago, 2019, I was on the board at that time. We were part of the Public Service Commission's investigation into the Leaky 11. Morgan County was one of the Leaky 11. I had to go to Frankfurt. I was on the stand for about 4 hours. I've never been on the stand, never been sworn in or anything. So I'm very proud of where we come from. When I was on the board, our water loss was 60%. We were spending about $70,000 a month on purchased water. This past month, we spent about $40,000. So over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, we're saving about $30,000 a month in water loss. We have a dedicated leak detector. That was one of the things we instituted. So Dean Kennard is our leak detector, and we've supplied him with a bunch of equipment, and he's out daily checking for leaks. This week alone, we found 7 leaks. And we actually had a leak this afternoon. I just got that phone call that our guys just got it fixed up on Highway 844. So this is the time of year when we're seeing more leaks. But again, I'm very proud of where we're at with our water loss. The next couple of pages, I printed this off today from the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority website. So this is a list of projects. The first project you'll see, I know it's really small writing. Gateway does a really good job of having this blown up. I don't have that size paper, so you might have to get your magnifying glasses out. But the first project is already completed. This was the old 172 project. That was the first project that we instituted in as a water loss saving project. Right now, some of y'all, or many of you know, we have the current project going on up Highway 191. That is also a water loss relocation project. So what we basically done when I started as a general manager, we looked at the oldest lines in the system. The old 172 line and Highway 191, those lines were put in approximately around 1993, 94. So those are the oldest lines in the system. So that's why we chose those to be replaced first. So the Highway 191 is projected to be done by November of this year. The third one on there is ready to go to bid. This is the Clean Water Grant. This is the water line extensions. And if you look there, there's a list of roads that we have approved for the water line extensions. If you all remember, it's probably been 2 years ago, the judge's office done a survey with the county, and all the county residents in that survey put if they wanted water, didn't want water, did they have water. So from the results of that survey from a couple of years ago, these were the roads that were determined that needed water on those. So there's 14 roads. We're also looking at putting a new 100,000 gallon tank in the Woods Bend area, along with a pump station with this project. So this project is fully funded with clean water money. So this is a grant. It was $2.9 million that we received. Very proud of that. And so yeah, this is one of we would never be able to do these water line extensions. It's just not feasible for us to go out and borrow the money and then run a line for 3 or 4 houses. You just never get your return investment on that. So this is really the only way that we're able to get water out to these other families. You guys done a great job last summer of giving us the money for the meter settings. We have all 54 of those meter settings completed. So we got 54 more families with water. I think with this water line extension, and I have another one, a secondary one that I'm looking for funding for right now that has about 8 roads on it. And if we can get those, then we'll probably be at 99 to 100% water coverage throughout the county. They were talking about earlier with Pat Oker, we already have water at Pat Oker, we already have water on Upper and Lower St. Lake, so the water infrastructure is already there for businesses or future campsites or anything like that coming in. The water structure is already there. The next project that we have is, we're hoping for this water line extension. We're waiting for the bid process to begin. We're hoping construction for these water line extensions will happen maybe by June or July of this year. We'll have 2 projects going at the same time. It's going to be a busy summer with all the projects going on, but we're really excited about it. The other projects that we're looking at, I'm not going to go through them, but you can see we have a list of projects. One of the things that I've learned is you want to keep a lot of projects in your project profile, because when Frankfurt goes to look to put money in, like the one where we got the money from the governor, we didn't know anything about it. They actually just went in our project profile, picked a project, and we got the phone call that it got funded. So that's why we like to keep these projects loaded in here at all times. So those are the projects that we currently have going on and all the future projects that's coming up. Any questions?
I heard something the other day that some of the water lines that tornado, when the water line went back in, the water meter was not set. Is that something that we're looking at now?
Do what else again?
You remember when the tornado went through,
Mm-hmm.
and it tore up, and they come back in and put some water lines back in and replace them? But the properties didn't get there. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. I have not received any calls or anything on that. So you're saying that there were water lines that were...
There's a water line, like say right.
You know where?
No, I don't know where.
Okay.
But I was talking to the mayor and some other people.
Oh, okay, so it was here in town.
It's probably here in town.
Okay,
I was
okay.
talking to some other people too, but they
Yeah.
said the water meters were not reset after the tornado, after the new water lines were put back in. Have you not heard anything like that?
That's before my time.
All right.
But no, I have not heard anything like that.
All right. Now, can we go back in and reset those meters if they were there before and the water line's been put in, but
If the water line is there and the customer had a water base there before,
yeah.
it got destroyed, and then we never put it back in, as long as we show documentation that it was there and everything, then yeah, we would just put the meter back in. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that wouldn't be a problem.
Any other questions?
One of the things that actually I have 2 questions. First one, can you tell us a little bit of the financial health of the water district?
Yes. Yeah, so the water district has always struggled financially over the years. Well, what I've seen, I've been on the board since 2016, took over as general manager 2019. We have always, as far as I know, have struggled financially, and it's been more with cash flow management. We did get a rate increase that was mandated by the Public Service Commission in 2021. Also that year, there was a surcharge that the Public Service Commission instituted on us for water loss. It was $5.87 per customer. We're hoping that will be coming off here in the next year or so. We've about done the complete order on that. But I can say as of this month, we have no outstanding loans or outstanding debt over 30 days. So everything has been paid in full over the last couple of months. Yes.
What about, do you anticipate any water rate increases or tap pumping increases?
Yeah, so we are required next year, 2024, we'll be required by the Public Service Commission to do another rate study. So they will probably be looking at this year as the test year, and I would project that there will probably be another rate increase next year. It won't be like in 21 where it was 25 or 26%. I'm looking probably more at 10 to 12%. But what I'm hoping is that with the surcharge coming off, then we'll be able to take that surcharge off, and then if there's a rate increase that the Public Service Commission puts on us, then it will hopefully be less than what the surcharge was. With a 10%, you're looking at maybe $2 or $3 on a minimum bill, so I don't think it's going to be too bad. What we have to do, and I've been in several meetings with the Public Service Commission, What they really require water districts is that we go in and ask for a rate review every 3 to 5 years. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll do a rate increase, but they want that done. And I think what's happened in the past with the water districts, not just us, but across Eastern Kentucky especially, is that there was no water rate increases. I know with Morgan County, we've been in operation since 1992, and I think the Public Service Commission told me that we had only done 3 rate increases in 30 years. And you just can't operate a business that way. The other thing that I want people to realize, and I've talked to several people about this, is being that we are in a rural county, and we are one of the larger counties in Eastern Kentucky. We have over 370 miles of line in the ground. We are naturally going to pay more for water than what other counties would. So I get a lot of calls that Round County is cheaper than us. Well, they're cheaper than us because they have a bigger population. We still have to meet all the compliance issues, and we have to do everything that everyone else has to do. We just don't have the population to support 370 miles of line. So the only way that we can cover costs is we have to naturally have a higher rate with that. Now, that's one of the reasons why the Public Service Commission put us in, with the leaky 11, because they realize that they can't keep doing rate increases if you're not doing anything about your water loss, especially for a distribution system where we are buying all of our water. So that's why we have worked really hard over these last 3 or 4 years to make sure we're getting the water loss down. And like I say, we've saved, I should have brought it with you, I can bring it next time I come, but we've saved probably 100 million gallons over the last 3 years through our water loss efforts. So like I say, I've been very proud of it. Very proud last year, I don't even think we put this in the paper, but last year we were nominated for a Wooden Bucket Award through Kentucky Rural Water. So Kentucky Rural Water, they are an association that covers all the water districts and all the water associations in the state. And we were recognized with being a finalist for the Wooden Bucket, and that is the top 10 water districts in the state. So I like to say we went from the leaky 11 being one of the worst water districts in the state in 2019 to last year being one of the top 10 water districts in the state. So I just want to brag on our team that we have up there. The employees that we have up there are very dedicated. They work in the over hours. Everyone is dedicated to the mission. The mission is that we provide clean, safe drinking water to the citizens of Morgan County. And we're trying to do it as affordably as possible. So like I said, we're very proud of that, and we're hoping maybe to get the Wooden Bucket this year.
What about this tap-on fee?
Tap-on fee, we are not looking at it right now, because right now the tap-on fee, the parts are running us about $1,100. The problem right now with that is, of course, brasses went up. Right now, this is what we're kind of running into. Right now, there's a 36-week lead time on brass. So like right now, I got a shipment of meter settings in today that I ordered last summer. So I just now got 25 of those in. And so what's happening is we're having to order, used to we would order 5 or 6 water settings a month. Now I'm ordering 25 or 30 at a time, because we were down to 1. So we could only set 1 more meter before we got this shipment in. So brass right now is super high. It's a 36-week lead time. Water meters are 35 to 36-week lead time. Pipe is, the supply chain on pipe right now is outrageous, and then we're also looking at a shortage in chlorine this year again, probably. So the supply chain issues have been just murder on us here over the last couple of years with the pandemic and stuff. We really had to reach out. Back in 2019, we could get our vendors here locally. I mean, we're reaching out now to Texas, Florida, Michigan. We're doing Facebook groups, and everyone's kind of horse trading parts around right now, just trying to keep everything going. So, but right now, I do not foresee any kind of rate increase with the tap settings. No.
So will you have enough meters and fittings to do these roads that's coming up?
Yes. So we were fortunate enough in our first project, in that old 172 project. At the end of the project, we were under budget, and I went out and bought 300 meters, 300 bases, 300 setters. And that was before, any of the, we knew all this, but so we had all that in our stock. Everyone tells me I'm sitting on a gold mine right now. But yeah, so right now with the water on extension, I've actually already pulled those meters out of inventory, and they're sitting in a separate area with a big sheet of paper saying, do not touch, these is for the water line extension project.
Well, there'd be some angry people on 460, I believe. If you read everything.
No, I don't want to tell you how to run your business or anything, but I think if you all can see fit to keep the people in your trucks, that's kind of like a benefit for them because they're not getting paid a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's just like a benefit, I think, especially if they.
You're talking about with our on-call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they have to come from home, go up there, get a truck,
Right.
everything, you're still.
Yeah, and when the board decided last month to try that, we're going to see how it works, but yeah, we definitely, we understand that. We're going to see how it kind of goes and stuff, but yeah,
And it's gonna be a benefit on keeping people too, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And we just have to look at what's the cost savings. How much are we actually going to save versus the employee benefit of it? Because we still underpay our employees. I mean, I'm sure that's across the county wide.
Yeah.
Class 2 operator, Mount Sterling are probably making $25 an hour. Our Class 2 operators are probably making 17, 18. I mean, we're way under. Starting pay for us is $12 an hour. I think even for the road department, you guys are paying, what, 15 starting? Something like that starting, so. If we do get this next rate increase next year, that's what we're going to be looking at, is to make sure that we're able to retain, because we're not even be able to keep up with inflation. The inflation, rate is, we've done a few raises over the last couple of years, but it's not even been in line with the inflation rate, so.
No, like I said, that's just like a benefit.
Yep. And I'll make sure that I bring that up at the board meeting. We have our board meeting, or any of you guys are more than welcome to come.
When is the board meeting?
Board meeting is always the second Monday of the month. Second Monday of the month at 4:30, and you guys are welcome anytime to come to the board meeting. Absolutely. It's an open meeting just like this is. Anyone can come, any citizens can come. It's an open meeting just like this is.
Right. Second Monday of every month at 4:30.
Yep.
Gotcha. Any other questions from Shannon? From the board or from the audience? Anybody out there? All right, good job, Shannon. Appreciate you coming.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right, now the moment everybody's been waiting on. The bid opens.
As we open these bids, I'll put a takeoff sheet in your packet if you want to record the information for your later review. It's in there for you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages.
We got 5 bids.
5 packages in one plate. Just to bid package number 1. And, all right, bid number fiscal year 2301. No? Oh, Holbrook Equipment. And we received, we got it on April 26th. Sorry, man, I don't know how to use this one.
That's it.
Yeah, it's still all right. He's waiting in anticipation. And that's in here.
That packet goes with that, the big thick packet.
This one goes with it? It's all the same?
It does, yeah, that describes
This is from Holbrook too?
it does, yeah.
That's good. The books.
Yeah.
Just for everybody, a book for everybody or something? So they'll do some really read it.
Yeah, they should be listed just like they are on
Yeah,
these.
Andrew listed. This is from Holbrook Equipment.
And here's, shows you what the item is.
Yeah. Very good. So, from Holbrook Equipment, the first item they got is 2 tractors. Price each $60,800. Make and model is a Kubota M5-091 HDC-1. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, 2 to 5 days. In stock.
What was the model number again, please?
M5-091 HDC Hotel Delta Charlie -1. All right. All right, two front end loaders. Price each $8,100. Make and model is a Kubota, just like an Lima Alpha 1854. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, 2 to 5 days, and mounted on an MS. Well, it's got an MS-091 Hotel Delta Charlie. 2 rotary motors. Price each $23,400. A make and model is a Land Pride Romeo Charlie 5710. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, 5 to 10 days, and 1 May factory delivery. 1 grading scraper. Price $3,500. Make and model is a Land Pride Golf Sierra 25906. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, 2 to 5 days, in stock. 1 box blade. Price $2,800. Make and model Land Pride Bravo 35906. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, 2 to 5 days, in stock. And we got some other information here.
Well, that's just,
That's just
yeah, it's just backing up what you
like I
just
said,
read.
what I read. And here's all the books to it, so.
Just gotta keep that all together there. So don't get mixed up with the next one.
You want to lay it over there, so.
I'll have that here.
I got 2 moving in our room over here. So like this one is from Mead, is that Mead Tractors?
What was the name of that again?
That's what I'm trying to find out here. It's cut, the name's covered up.
Just probably move down there.
Specifications, notice, leave. It's M-E-A-D-E, Mead.
Meat tractor.
It is Mead Tractor, that is tractor. Yeah, it's covered up, I can see the tractor part. Okay, here's our big terms. 2 tractors, price each $85,549. Make and model John Deere 5095 M, Mike. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, January 1st, 2024.
What was that price again?
$85,549 and 2 cents.
Okay, thank you.
2 front end loaders. Price each, $7,071.74. Make and model, John Deere 540 Mike. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, June 10th, 2023. 2 rotary mowers. Price each, $22,805.32. Make and model is a John Deere Foxtrot Charlie 10 Romeo. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, August 30th, 2023. 1 grading scraper. Price $2,902.80. Make and model Frontier Lima Papa 2196. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver, May 10th, 2023. 1 box blade. Price $1,976.20. Make and model Frontier Bravo 5096.
What was the price on that again?
$1,976.20. Make and model year 2023. Delivery is May 10th, 2023. Then all the supporting. Seal bit and then seal. Yeah. Rare parts.
Spare parts.
Yeah. Aaron stole rare parts and equipment. Aurora, Colorado. I don't know.
For service.
Colorado. Find out. All right, here we go with the bid terms. From Ware Equipment, Colorado. The 2 tractors, no bid. 2 front end loaders, no bid. 2 rotary mowers. Price each, $20,499. Make and model, Blue Diamond, 12-foot flex wing. 2023 is the year. Number of days to deliver, Brandon, 7 days. 1 grading scraper. Price $2,899. Make and model, Blue Diamond 8-foot grader. Model year 2023 and 7 days to deliver. 1 box blade. Price $2,499. Make and model, Blue Diamond 8-foot box blade. 2023 model year. Number of days to deliver, 150 approximately.
What's the price on the box blade?
The box blade was $2,499. And approximately 150 days for delivery.
The rotary was $24.99.
Yeah, the rotary motors was $20,499 each. And that was a Blue Diamond 12-foot flex wing. And with the supporting specifications.
That was 12 foot.
12 foot. All right, last one.
We didn't get anything from the government.
Oh, didn't get anything from them?
Okay. Got, this is from Nathan Miller, Right Implement, in Bowling Green.
You got that one sealed up, this.
Yeah. Boys, you wanna look at this? That's how you sold it. Here's their bid terms. 2 tractors, price each $70,500. Make and model 2023 John Deere 5090 Echo. Model year 2023. Number of days to deliver 30. 2 front end loaders, $7,850. Make and model John Deere 520 Mike. Model year 2023, days to deliver 30. 2 rotary mowers, price each $23,500. Make and model John Deere Foxtrot Charlie 10 Romeo. Model year 2023, number of days to deliver 240. Grading scraper 1, price $3,895. The make and model is a what does that say? Founders?
Frontier problem.
Frontier probably, yeah. Front, yeah, the N and took the T and the I and put it together. Frontier, Lima Papa 2196, model year 2023, number of days to deliver 60. For the box blade, they had no product compatibility, so no bid on that. They got a note down here. Exception to the bid, rear steel wheels on tractor and 85-inch bucket on loader.
My next comment, if y'all done the math on the tractors,
What you got?
I get 121.6 on Holbrook, 141,000 on Wright, 171,098.04 on Meade.
Are we gonna do this item by item?
Well, let's just go down the list first. I got 16,200 on the loaders with Holbrook, 15,700 on Wrights, and 14,143.48 on Meade. On the mowers, I've got 46,800 on Holbrook, 40,998 on the wire parts, 47,000 on Wrights, and 45,610.64 on Meade. 3,500 on the scraper for Holbrook, 28.99 on wire parts, 38.95 on Wrights, 29.02.80 on Meade. On the blade, 2,800 on Holbrook, 24.99 on wire parts, nothing on Wrights, 1976-20 on Meade. The comment I would make, of course, is Holbrook has the lowest price on the tractors. They do not have the lowest price on the loaders, but the people with the lowest price on the loaders, their loaders probably won't fit on the,
Well, I was fixing to say, I don't think the loader will fit on John Deere, or
So-
vice versa.
you're sort of locked in, it would seem to me.
Well, overall cheapest bid is Holbrook. It's $190,900.
All in all, they're close.
I hadn't added it all up, to be honest with you.
I haven't added the other three up, just to look at them, I mean.
But you're kind of locked in, you know, on that deal.
This would be because of the specifications.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the John Deere loader won't work
It
on
won't work
the
on
tractor.
it. It won't
No.
work on the motor tractor.
Can't wait January 1st, 2024 for these tractors.
Well, that's a good
No, that's
point.
another point too.
That's a big
Yeah,
point.
we gotta have it now.
Well, Braxton did again, but,
Won't have to mow.
It's getting pretty tall.
I don't think we want to do that though. We do that, Judge Franklin and I have to come into schools.
I make the motion we buy the tractors and the loaders from Holbrook Implement.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to buy our tractors and the implements along with it from Holbrook Equipment. Is there any questions or discussion?
I see tractors and loaders.
Oh, loaders, all
Yeah, I
right.
thought Tommy wanted to go.
All right. Tractors and loaders, all right. Tractors and loaders. Withdraw that.
Okay, I'll withdraw that. I say we buy tractors and implements from Holbrook because the latest one is 10 days out on everything.
Yeah. Which, I guess Tommy's figuring here, Tommy figured the bush hog might be a little bit cheaper, but on the tractor, it's not. So when you figure the whole total, it's still gonna be cheaper than the others.
We'll let him figure it. Let Tommy finish his ciphering. He was a graduate of Jethro Brogan School in ciphering.
Oh. Well, Holbrook is $190,900. Wright's is $207,595. Meade is $235,731. Cheaper and more, and closer to get, more well built
All right.
sooner.
I entertain a motion now.
I make a motion we buy tractors, front end loaders, and equipment from Holbrook Implement.
We have a motion on the floor, then properly second to buy the tractors, front end loaders, and implements, all from Holbrook Equipment. Is there any questions or discussion? Is there any questions or discussion?
Hey, Tommy, what did you budget in for the payments on, was it 200,000?
Roughly 200,000 for what I put in the budget, so we're gonna come in a little bit less. I just had to give it my best guess, you know.
Pretty good. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Okay. Mr. Treasurer, you're on deck. Well, you're at bat.
Okay. In your packet is an item that says summary analysis of revenue. Now, you all got a package from me last week with a write-up about the budget. And just let me explain a little bit. You have to make assumptions when you do a budget, of course. And you remember we presented the jail budget in last month's meeting. It has to be presented before the 1st of April. I had to tweak that just a little bit for things we found out that we didn't know, such as the retirement match and the workman's compensation that you saw in your packet. So we tweaked the jail budget a little bit. The jail budget requires money. It has very little of its own revenue. Only 100 and I think it's like 102,000 or something. But in the case of the jail, it requires $603,361 from other sources. One of those is going to be the LGEA fund, and the rest of it, $457,361, is going to come out of the general fund. When we talk about the road fund, we took $100,000 of permitted administrative money from the road fund, and there's a calculation in here. You're limited by the amount of truck license distribution, which is $223,000. We only took 100 because I felt like that's all we could afford. Now let's get to the issue at hand. The issue at hand is the fact that we have almost $1.5 million of unpaid bills that we inherited from the previous administration. We have made some payments on those, but still with the payments, we still owe nearly $1.5 million. There was no way possible for me to balance the road fund budget because you have to include those unpaid bills in the budget. The previous administration hadn't done that for at least 2 years. They just put them in a drawer and forgot about them. And so we're going to have to bite the bullet, and they're going to have to be paid. And as I told you in the letter that I sent, we're going to have to borrow money to do that. So I discovered yesterday morning that I had made a little bit of a miscue. When I started building the budget, I built the budget with the assumption that we would continue to make payments on these bills the rest of this year. Well, when we got, and RJ, you can step forward if you want to. When we got RJ and Lonnie Campbell involved in the conversation about the RJ, they wanted us to not make any more payments, just leave the balance as is.
And this is RJ Palmer and
RJ Palmer, Compass Municipal Advisors, and also Financial Advisors.
And so the mistake I made was that I was assuming we were going to keep making payments. But when we shifted gears, the budget, I didn't shift gears with the assumption. So the bottom line is we're going to have about $400,000 more dollars to balance it. So we're looking at around $1.5 million, because that's almost exactly what we've got in unpaid bills, as much as 2 years ago. So that's what it's going to take to balance the road fund budget. The general fund budget has got a little bit of the money about $107,000 of unpaid bills that have to do with the wellness center parking lot. And I've included $100,000 of that $1.5 million that will go into the general fund to help pay that. Another big bogey in the general fund this year is $300,000 for the sheriff. You approved the sheriff's budget in January. It has a $300,000 requirement for us to fund their office. And that's up $100,000 from the previous year. So, you know, budget is tight. Unfortunately, this administration, another administration, and half of another one, it's going to take that long to pay this money back. But these bills have to be paid. We can't do like they did before and just ignore them. And so RJ, if you would explain what we may go through here.
Sure. So the easiest way to access the capital market for Morgan County is through the CAECO bond flow program, which you have participated in previously. So everything that is required for that is already done. So we would simply go to the capital market, borrow the $1.5 million, put it on basically equal monthly payments for a 10-year payback period. Currently estimate we can issue the debt at about 3.5% fixed for the 10 years, which makes the payment about $16,600 a month. We have petitioned DLG, which obviously is required for long-term debt. Anticipate it will probably sell the debt somewhere around the end of June, and then you would have money in July. And I asked Tommy to delay paying anything further because upon advice of bond counsel, because you can't go back, right, more than 60 days to reimburse ourselves for a bill that's paid. And since these bills had not been paid, they were comfortable letting us pay them in full once we fund the bond, or sell the bond and fund the road fund.
That's it in a nutshell, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
You know, you've had a copy of the budget. Most of what you saw is still the way it is right here. All the principal and interest components of the debt for the $1.5 million, the debt for the tractors, the debt for the cat equipment, and the prospective debt for the trucks, beginning 6 months, assuming we would get them at the beginning of January, and that may be pushing it a little bit. That's all in here. It's all taken into consideration. As I said, it's a tight budget. We're going to have to be very careful with the way we approach. There was no way I could balance the road. I could have took everything in the road fund out and still couldn't balance it. I mean, all the supplies, everything, the road department was basically had to shut down. But I couldn't do it. I mean, there just wasn't enough money there to do it. If you have any questions about this, I'll be glad to try to field them. What we would like to do tonight is consider this, if you're in agreement, to consider this as a first reading of our budget ordinance for fiscal year 24. And if it's acceptable to you, we will send it on to the Department of Local Government for their review. And we would have it back hopefully by our regular scheduled meeting in May to adopt the budget and be done with it. There's also an item in here that we will also, and this is no different than the one you just approved, but we would need to approve the standing orders separately. That has to be part of this budget package, the DLG. I know I've glossed over a lot of stuff here, but again, if you have any questions, we've talked about the part of it that was the hardest thing to do, and that was to borrow this money to make it work. So I don't see that we've got much choice. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
How much do we owe ICD?
ICD, let me see.
Just approximately, like, big rate.
Well, just a minute, I've got it in the budget. We owe, one of them's $485, $154, and the other one's $308, $474. That's ER6, but remember now, we're gonna get 85 or 90% of this money back when we pay for this, and I've got that figured in the budget. You know, we'll be able to get the FEMA money back on this stuff.
So let me ask you a question. I didn't think of this when we had our budget meeting. Why don't we use, we've got $1.3 million in co-service money. Why don't we use $800,000 of that and pay ER assist? If we borrow this money and we get back, 90% of that, we can't pay it on that debt. It's a bond, is that right?
That's correct.
We got to pay it for 10 years. Yeah, 3.5%, so, you cut $700,000 off of that, you have to borrow $1.5 million.
Well, I mean, I don't have any control over, you're talking about the LGEDF fund. That's above my pay grade.
We'd have to put a request in.
I spoke with Billy Johnson about this, about borrowing and using that money to pay. She said she would not advise it.
Yeah, that's the same thing I got from
She said it might be possible, but she wouldn't advise it.
And plus, it stops dead in our tracks for any kind of economic development too. I mean, we can go ahead and get the bond and start paying it off in 10 years. And also, it gives us the flexibility to do other things and bring in jobs and companies and stuff like that. We can do that. And there are some companies that's interested in there right now, so if we do that, that's down the drain too. We've already shot ourselves in the foot last time with this debt, and now.
Yeah, I understand. We get 9% of that money back, so it's not like we're losing it. We can put it in a separate fund.
That's a good point.
We can put it in a separate fund and say, hey, this is for economic development.
Yeah. Well, that's the road money we get back. You can't take that. See, that's the other problem. You can't take. I guess it's a whole nother can of worms. If we paying the road stuff back, the money we get back from ICD and ER assist, yeah.
I'm just trying to,
I know, I see what you're saying too, because I really don't like doing this either, believe me.
there's no doubt we're going to have to do something, but I'm just trying to think of ways to make some of the debt in. The 3.5% interest is low, but we don't even have dollars, it's not money.
Yes, it is.
So, Linda, you don't think it's possible though?
She said it might be possible, she just wouldn't advise it.
Well, it's approved by the state, is that right?
What she told me was, this is, I think the situation was that we're borrowing money that will be paid back by FEMA.
Yeah.
Or we're using our money for, I'm not sure, real clear on it, but she just didn't think it was advisable. That's all.
Yeah, she said taking money, when I wasn't with Billy, but somebody else, I said taking money out of the economic development money, when it was forming those cold severance, and taking that money, they said there's a problem with using that to pay off FEMA.
Money that's gonna be
Reimbursed from FEMA. That was the problem.
I don't do anything wrong.
Maybe. Good question. Any other questions?
While you mull over that, let me do one other thing here. It's required that we have a hearing here tonight concerning county road aid and LGEAF funding. And this was advertised in the paper for citizens input. I would ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to make any comment about our use of county road aid money or local government economic assistance money. Hearing none, I think that this hearing then would be, that part of it would be closed. Let's talk about one other thing while you're thinking about it. And this, we have been in, as you know, we've had several problems with our payroll system. And a lot of that trouble is because that we're doing payroll and the sheriff and the clerk are having their payroll done. But we have to do all the reporting for retirement, workman's compensation, and that sort of thing. And so what we've asked the clerk and the sheriff, and they have both agreed to let us bring their payroll processing back under the fiscal court umbrella. This is the way I used to do it years ago, and it makes the reporting part of it 100% easier than it is now. And so, effective the first of the new fiscal year, we would ask you to allow us to start doing that. As I said, both the sheriff and the clerk have agreed, and we have the capability to do it. And we actually think it'll save us time in the long run. But it's right smart of a little job at the end of the month to chase all this stuff down and make it work. So we'd ask, for a motion to approve that, Judge.
You guys heard what Tommy said. I entertain a motion on that at this point.
I'll make a motion. Do the sheriff clerk's salaries.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly second to move the sheriff and clerk's payroll back to the judge executive's office. Any questions or discussion?
Are we all right with that? Yeah, I've talked to them, we talked to them extensively about it.
They've already,
They're on board.
They're both on board. This is because there's been communications and everything else, so this makes it better.
It would just streamline the whole process.
Because they're doing part of it, and then we're doing part of it.
And this goes on the treasurer's job.
The treasurer will
That
take
goes
care
on the
of
treasurer's
it.
job. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
I have for second reading, 3 budget amendments, number 5, 6, and 7, that have been presented to the Department of Local Government and returned approved. Number 5, a total of $92,038.09. And we'll just do them all in one motion if that's okay with you. Number 6, $8,901.07. And number 7, $334,381.20. That's second reading of those 3 amendments. So we would need a motion to approve those.
Now you've heard what the treasurer said. I'll entertain a motion to approve budget amendments number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the second.
No, 5, 6, and 7.
5, 6, and 7. All right. First reading.
That's the second reading on that.
5, 6, and 7, second reading.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to approve the budget amendment, second reading, budget amendment 6, 5, 6, and 7. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have for first reading, budget amendment number 8, for a total of $137,400. $927.83. Several items in the general and road fund and a couple items in the jail fund are over the estimate of revenue. And Sheena put this together this afternoon to just more budget maintenance. We do not have to have a motion on that at this point.
You done with RJ?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
RJ, we're finished.
Okay, you don't see me for the ordinance?
Yeah, you might stay around.
That's what I'm checking.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can go home.
I'm giving them a minute to mull this over.
You're good, you're good.
We'll put you up at the days in. So, we're done with the first reading. That's
Okay, I have, you have in your packet a budget transfer, totaling $476,970.36 for several items in appropriation that needed attention. And so we moved money from unappropriated surplus to various accounts that you can see there. We will need a motion to approve this transfer.
Motion to do this transfer. I'll say.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to approve the budget transfer. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
You have in your packet a financial statement, the one that says filed with the Department of Local Government on April 18th, 2023. That is the financial statement as of March 31st. And it's required to be filed with DLG within 20 days of the end of the quarter. And as you can see on the first page, it reflects encumbered amounts totaling $1.517 million, which includes those bills for, which is provided to them electronically on April 18th. You also have a current, it says current financial statement, and that's as of today. Showing encumbrances of $1,695,000. There's the current bills in that. Once we get these arrears bills taken care of next year, you won't see these big encumbrance numbers anymore. It'll make more sense to you after that. But that's as of today. There's a sheet this color here that's what I call the audit findings that I've been bringing to you every month for your review. Basically, it just lays out the various findings from the audit and the things that we're doing to correct those findings. I'm just updating you on what we've done over the last month, kind of the continuing story. May make for good bedtime reading if you have trouble going to sleep. But we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that we clear up these issues so that we have a clean audit that we can possibly have. That's part of my goal here.
Don't go to sleep now.
let's circle back around to the budget again, gentlemen. If this is acceptable to you, then accept this as the proposed budget for fiscal year 24, subject to approval by the Department of Local Government, and this will be a first reading of the ordinance. And that's acceptable, we'll put it in the mail in the morning.
I make a motion we accept the first reading of the budget, 23-24 year.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded to approve the new budget for fiscal year 23-24. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? Final time. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Within that document is the standing orders, which is the same as the standing orders that we recently done. So we will need to approve this separately, so that I can include it with the budget.
Everybody got a copy of it?
Yeah, that's all in the budget.
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget. And there's a couple other things I want to comment on before we leave this together. Then we'll let RJ back on the floor.
He's still here.
Standing order.
Motion on standing orders, I'll entertain it now.
I'll make a motion to approve the standing orders, bills and payments. Presented, as presented.
We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded to approve the standing orders for fiscal year 23-24 as presented. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Two other items that's in this packet is our liabilities register. Shows the CAECO bond. And also, there's two bond issues that have to do with the Justice Center, which are not on our books, that have to be included in this. And it says, you'll see, not on our books. That has to be included with the budget. And on the very last page is tax rates that have been already approved previously. That has to also be included with our budget submission to DLG. So RJ?
Yes, sir.
You want me to read the ordinance, the title?
I think that's all you need.
There's an ordinance that's required for this bonded indebtedness, so I'm going to read it by title. An ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, and authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease. Now, this will be a first reading of that ordinance. We will bring it to the next meeting for second reading, and it'll also be advertised in the local newspaper within the proper time frame. Anything else, RJ?
No, sir.
That's all correct.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you all.
Appreciate your help.
No problem. You out of here? You got it?
Thank you.
Thanks, RJ. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
Next thing I have is a resolution, and this is an annual resolution for the county road aid monies. County road aid monies will be a total of $1,210,428.58. The initial distribution of that money will be $704,469. They usually come in August sometime, anything. But this is an annual resolution that we have to file with the state concerning the county road aid program. So, pretty much routine. Need a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second, approval of county road aid. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We need to appoint, let me give you just a little background here. There are 5 bank accounts with U.S. Bank that have to do with the public properties business with the Justice Center. And you may not have this in your packet. I don't think I made copies of it.
I gave him a copy of it.
Oh, did you? And all this is about is just getting Jim's name on the mailing rather than, I think Tim Conley's on part of it, John Will's on part of it. Just trying to get his name on all of them. So we're just appointing Jim Gazay as the authorized representative for the Morgan County Fiscal Court with U.S. Bank.
And we got like, what, $2 or something?
Well, this is not, these are the sinking funds.
Sinking funds, all right.
Nothing to do with that other deal.
All right. Yeah, because that last time, they still got $2 in there after they said they.
Yeah, we gotta get that out. I'm gonna try to go by the bank tomorrow and get some more.
Get that out. Yeah, they said they was gonna charge us $2, so Tommy left $2 in there, and then they sent us a check, and the next thing you know, there's still $2 in the account. They didn't charge it. So it's still there, or it was, right? It's gone now, right?
Well, I gotta go get checked in
All
the
right.
morning.
Man, this is Neverland.
So we need a motion to approve that.
Yeah, we need a motion to approve this.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, been properly second to approve Judge Gazay to be on these accounts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We are still finding and still getting notices in the mail occasionally for back taxes and penalties and that sort of thing. And we feel like at some point in time, if this stuff keeps coming, we're gonna run out of money in the payroll account. And so what we're asking for is authority, if we do run short of money, to transfer money from the general fund enough to cover these things should the account run out of money. Right now, we're in good shape, but who's to know what's still out there? And if we have to do this, we will circle back around and tell you exactly what we do.
This is the IRS and,
It's like mostly the IRS right now.
well, how much do we,
Well, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
All right, okay. I see he's wanting to know.
So we just need authorization to do that.
To transfer,
From the general fund to the payroll account, if we run into situations where we're out of money.
I don't know for that line item, the penalties.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Tell you, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second. the treasurer can, in case for penalties that come in, to move the line items, so we'll have money from the general fund to pay for those. Any questions or discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We need approval. We have finally gotten the credit card back. And we just need approval from the court as to the kind of purchases that we will be using the card for. What we can think of today was Amazon. We got some online software that we're gonna have to buy, and we have a subscription we have to pay for the Microsoft stuff each year. And then with Costco. Is there anything else you all can think of? So we just need to authorize the use of the credit card for Amazon, online software purchases, and Costco. And those bills, of course, will be presented along with all the rest of them.
Make a motion.
Now, they're not limited to what you just said.
Well, yeah, for now, it would be. And if you want to give us more authority later, we can ask for that, but for now, that's what we want.
Yeah, right now, what we're using is Amazon, the online software, and
The guidance from DLG says that we should get approval for what we're using this card for.
And those are the only things right now in Costco is to help, bring things into the concession stand up there, so we didn't get to drive to Lexington all the time to pick it up.
Well, we're paying big money for stuff at the IGA.
Yeah, we're paying.
We can save a ton of money.
It's costing us stuff to buy this stuff. And we can save, the court can save a lot of money by buying this stuff this way. And make more money.
I'll make a motion to approve this credit card purchase these items.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to approve our new credit card for use with Costco, online software, and Amazon. Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You have in your packet a report that says penalties, Morgan County Fiscal Court penalties and interest paid.
Here you go, Don.
And we have been keeping up with what we've been finding and what we've been having to pay. And bottom line is, we've been out $38,552.97 for penalties and interest. Now, some of this goes all the way back to 2017. Most of it is in for example, there's $24,000 of it for the retirement, all the way from 17 up to 22. But basically, it's for sales tax, Department of Revenue withholding tax, IRS withholding taxes, and capital retirement. I'm still going to get a hold of IRS to see if they can provide us with any information from the last, say, 4 years or so. All that's on here is stuff that we've received in the mail.
That's how we found out about it.
We was able to find out about the Department of Revenue withholding tax, but that's on their website.
Yeah, that's right on there.
So, I mean, just an informational piece. We will
Linda opens up the mail.
update you with that as time goes on.
What was the last one again, Linda? About $6,000 and some dollars?
Altogether it was about $6,000. It wasn't all penalty. It's probably about $4,000 of penalties and interest. I also wanted to bring to your attention, is this an informational, we've had one open records request from a Bradley Browser, data acquisition specialist with Smart Procure in Murray, Kentucky. That was handled by, I guess, the first of the week. We answered that request. I just felt like it was, that you ought to know about these things, and so if if we receive any of these in the future. They basically just want to know about vendor information. So we sent them a 500-page report. Tell them all about the vendor information.
Have fun.
I think that was, I'm pardon?
Did we charge them for the paper?
Well, we did, it was electronic.
Big file.
One other thing, is we have a memorandum of agreement, I guess, with the state concerning the e-poll books for the elections in Randy's office. $32,672, which have we paid or getting ready to pay this? Okay, it's in the vendor claim, and this money is reimbursable. We will get this back. What we need here tonight is just an approval of this memorandum of agreement. To participate in this deal to purchase these e-poll books.
So this is 100% reimbursement?
Yes, yes it is.
Motion.
Yes.
I'll second.
So we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second to approve the memorandum of agreement between the county and the e-poll books?
No, it's with the state.
With the state, all right, between the county and the state.
Yeah.
And for these e-poll books, to purchase these, which will be 100% reimbursed. Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Well, I think I'm finally done, Judge.
And we finished up with the debt, everything, we're all good.
We're all good.
All right.
Move on before you think it's up.
I'm sorry?
Move on before you think it's
Say have more things on there. Well, we've done the first reading of the ordinance.
First reading, okay.
Yeah, the first reading of the ordinance, we will have the second reading of the ordinance at next month's meeting.
Okay.
That's when it will be approved.
Digest it and think about it. Anything else? All right?
Yeah, and by that time, we'll have the budget back and have it ready to approve.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
Okay, next up is Roads Department with Roads and Bridges report. Use that microphone.
Just a second. First off, I thank y'all for the approving tractors and that. And I did talk to Chad today. He called me. Our excavator and our backhoe is on his lot. They're gonna do an inspection out tomorrow and try to get it out to us next week. So that's all good to go there. And we got 3 guys, thanks to the judge and Gateway working together. We've got 3 guys right now that's currently taking their CDL class. It's Shannon Bowman, Scott Patrick, and Sean Ratliff. This Friday will be the first week. It's a six-week course.
It's a 6-week course.
And as far as I know, the test and stuff they took this week, all 3 of them's passed it the first try. So everything's good on that.
They don't want to fail.
No, we don't want to fail.
Come back.
As far as
This is costing us nothing. So.
yeah, it's saved the county what, roughly $18,000. But that Gateway helped us with it.
Yeah. Gateway Community Action did a good job for us. It's a lot.
The gas this month was 334 gallons. Diesel used was 985 gallons. We've fixed numerous breaks, pipe, gravel roads. The last part of last month, there's quite a bit of tree removal and stuff and storms come through. We got all that taken care of. We've been able to do some pothole and things like that. Bus turns, we put 1 pipe in up in Buckner Branch. We still got, if you notice the list from the first time to now and what's been called in and stuff, there's like 8 things or something on there roughly. That's jobs to be completed that we've got it left to do that's been called in so far, other than there's some stuff, you know, when we see it, it's gotta be done right then, we'll go ahead and take care of it. And then on that next to the last page there, this is something we started the 18th of this month, was the rock usage. And number 2s, we use 4 ton. Number 4s, we use 12.5 ton. DGA 33 ton. 57s, 42.5 ton. Riprap 118.5 ton. And rock bought this, well, from the 18th up to now, we bought 125 ton of riprap. And that was yesterday. I think we got hit in. So, and then if you look on the back, on this last page, it'll tell you how much tonnage, and the tonnage, what class of rock was used, and where it was used at and what day it was used. That way, everybody knows when you come up there, hey, we bought this much rock, where did it go to? But y'all try to have this every month for you all. That way you all got a total and know exactly where it went and how much of it went there. And the way we do it is we just go over the tonnage of what our bucket holds on our loader, and that's what we put on our trucks. And it's just approximate now. I mean, we'll be within shooting distance.
But now we know where the rock is going, how much we're using. We also, in the future, we can start planning and budgeting where this is supposed to go and where it's been served at, so we know which roads are coming up until we need service as well. So this is going to be part of a whole program that's going to be emerging out of this. So this is just the beginning of it.
Judge, that's about all we have. Not unless anybody else has got anything.
Anybody have any questions for the roads department? Thank you, man.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Road foreman, you got anything? Nothing? You? All right. As long as you're happy. Okay. Wellness Center report. Miss Kathy Kemplin.
Eric's not allowed to speak.
She's threatening me.
Again?
Again. Hopefully next month we'll have a more sophisticated, if we ever get a computer working. Just pass those out.
Did you get that computer working?
No, the keys don't work on it. It's not the numlock.
All right.
The numbers will work, but none of the letters on anything will work. And I Googled it, said it was froze up. I don't know. Sheena's going to look at it. I feel like I need to sing a song here.
Take care of it.
Our total visitors at the center from 3/23 to 4/27 today is 1,657. Our money that we have taken in for this month from 3/23 to 4/27 is 3,391. Concessions has brought in 2,904, and bowling center 5,272. The ATM for 4/1 through 4/27 is $43. The arcade was $344. Those two together was $387, just from the 1st to the 27th. Everybody's totals, our money, the wellness center money, the concessions, and the bowling center, $11,954. And that's,
Nice.
we're moving up. Good things are happening.
Good things are happening. More to come.
Any questions?
Any questions? Any public too? All right, guys, you get off easy.
All right.
Knowledge part-time employees to full-time. I believe we all have two of those, Linda?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Vernon Stacy and Diane Witt.
Yes.
All right, and we're just gonna go ahead. They're putting in enough hours right now. It's like becoming a labor department compliance issue, and we just need to make them full-time. Diane's retired, so it's not gonna affect anything really. Vernon's also, it's not gonna affect anything. We're getting off easy on this. It's not gonna cost us anything, insurance or anything like that, correct, Linda? I mean, not insurance, but retirement benefits and all that. Vernon's, what does he do? Yeah, he's retired too, so. Yeah, he's retired as well, so it's. Is it's basically just so we can comply, because you know, they're starting to do enough hours, it's getting close, and we can't, we'll get in trouble. You don't wanna get in trouble.
What were those names again?
Vernon Stacy, Diane Witt.
Okay, thank you.
She's sitting right back in the back here, asking. All right, vendor claims.
You have the vendor claims register in your packet showing bills that have been paid that we'll need to ratify, and also the bills to be paid with your approval tonight. The ones that have check marks are the ones that have been paid. You know, those are standing order type things. So we need actually two motions, one to ratify the standing order payments, and then another one to approve the vendor claims to be paid.
All right.
I'll make a motion, we ratify.
Vendor claims
Vendor claims
that have been paid.
that have been paid.
That have been paid. That's it. We have a motion on the floor, properly second, to ratify the vendor claims that have been paid. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion?
Can we start getting this a little bit earlier? Start getting this a little bit
Starting early.
earlier? A little sooner?
Oh, the reports.
earlier.
Oh, are we getting reports earlier?
Can we get them
When we get on the system, you
Yeah.
hope you have 2 days before the meeting.
Yeah, once we get on that new
Just
system,
saying.
we'll be getting 48 hours out.
The other thing is to approve the vendor claims to be paid.
So we still got a motion.
Oh, okay.
Was it?
We got a motion in a second.
All right. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Everyone should be paid.
I'll make a motion to pay the vendor claims.
We have a motion on the floor, been properly second, to pay the vendor claims that has to be paid. Yep.
Yeah, the one to be paid.
One's to be paid. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
There's one more page just for your information that shows the outstanding arrears bills, $1,478,000. This is what we will be funding with the bond issue. Just for your information.
Okay, next up is individuals and delegations. I believe we have one delegation here. Brother Jay Keaton, I believe you're here to lead the delegation from Coons Creek. Is that correct?
Yes, last up, almost time to go home.
Yeah, we saved the best for
Yeah,
last.
exactly, there you go. And every
Amen
time
to
I
that,
stand
right?
at a podium and preach like this, I typically take up an offering, and it sounds like we need to do that.
Oh, yeah, you want to do that, we want to.
Me and my wife got here first. We thought, well, we'll get there early to get us a seat in the front, but the fiscal court operates just like our church. Everybody gets here first to sit in the back, so I never did understand that. Big thank you to Judge Gazay, fiscal court, for allowing me to come and talk to you about some concerns we have out there, some things I want to put into your consideration. I live at the very end. I am a Morgan County resident. I do live at the very end of Coon Creek Road. I mean the very end of it, on a little spur street off of the very end at 2789 Coon Creek Road called Tomahawk Trail. Currently, the county maintains, that's Old County Route 1365, as I understand it. The county currently maintains up to the Goat Cemetery. I'm here tonight. I have petitions right here from not only myself, who lives there full-time permanently, as well as my stepmother, my father's house, which is right.
That's
Two separate residences. I do have a separate petition for my daughter. It means it's just unveiling her intention to move there as well. I did not bring a petition from my nephew, who is also going to be moving out there, that I gave property to. out there as well, but they are non-residents as of right now, but there is 2 separate residents currently in place there. But what I'm asking from the county is to take over maintenance and extend that public right-of-way from the cemetery down where we would intersect with that termination, that terminus there of the right-of-way where our driveways would meet. That would be approximately 1,953 linear feet that we've been maintaining for years back there when my dad was the only resident back there. And we've been there for 2 years now, and we're asking to turn that over and that you would take back in that right-of-way responsibility for the maintenance and such, the drainage, currently it's a gravel road down through there. We have a lot of issues in that area. I'm kind of our only advocate. But you know, the trash for us, we have to take 1.5 miles or so away from our properties. To drop off our mailboxes are 1.5 miles away from our properties, and Menifee County doesn't want to come in and maintain. I guess you guys have a mutual aid agreement with them.
Yeah, this will be one of the roads that'll be transferring over in the future too.
Correct. And right now, they don't want to come near us. They don't want to come so far back in. They say the roads are too bad. I kind of agree with them. It is pretty rough. The guys do a great job coming back here and doing their maintenance. They come back in there and they'll maintain up to the cemetery, which I understand that. We're asking you, since we now meet the code, as I understand it, and you have 2 separate residences at the end of this county route, that you would take over maintenance responsibilities to where we meet with our driveways. And I have 3 petitions here. Any questions?
No, we never got any feedback from the state. Have you, in the past, done anything like that? Since you or Donnie's been on the duty along serving?
Well,
Mr. Attorney down there,
what does he need to do? The county road it stops at a cemetery. And then he lives, what'd you say, 2,000?
It actually goes 1365. Actually, the old maps take it through down to the street that I live on, which is actually Old County Route 1471. That goes through my property and dead ends on Crater Ridge, 1950. They're old county routes.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you guys ever abandoned them or not. If the right-of-way's ever been officially abandoned, or if the right-of-way just exists and it's not been being maintained.
It's not being maintained. I don't think that's in the system anymore.
It's not.
In Dayton, I did this job in Dayton. I ran a pretty major city up there. We would have to, in order to get rid, and I don't know how it works down here, but in order to get rid of a right-of-way, you would have to have it would be an act of the court here to abandon that. And I don't know that that's ever happened.
That's correct. I mean, just because the county says that there's other resources that they need to use their resources maybe in another way, doesn't mean that they abandoned, you know, the roads themselves. The fiscal court is a court of record. So if if it's not recorded, you know, somewhere that the fiscal court did something, then it didn't happen. It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people that seen it. So if what you're saying, you're saying that it used to be a county road?
Yeah, there were several residences back in the day that went through there. You had the Sexton family, you had the Goad family, you had the Pierce family, you had the Kraft family, on and on and on. That went all the way through. Our family bought all that area down in there, all the way from the cemetery all the way to Blackwater in 1950. So there's no more residences at the end of the 1471, but there now is at the end of 1365.
So yeah, I mean, so that is one of the solutions, is that the road was never taken out. You know, if you know when the road's put in, then you could go forward from that date and see if it was ever taken out. It'd be tough to look, but you could go through the years and see if it was. If you're just looking to like create a road, then it's much harder for the regular people to create a road than for the fiscal court to deem it that it's in the best interest of the county to create a road. So you take out like 3 or 4 steps if the fiscal court wants to. You know, you just basically you advertise it and let people know that you're going to do it, and then you have a vote. But if people want to, you know, petition to have a road done, then there has to be like a committee, and you gotta work with the road department for, guy to, you know, to plan something out and all that kind of stuff, so, it's a little bit harder. But I would say that the easiest way to do is, if it was once a road and it was never taken out, then technically it's still a county road. It's just that we have chosen not to maintain it. We've chosen to use our money in other places.
Right, so how do we go from here? What's the next step then? It is Coon Creek Road. And on the maps that I've seen, it's 1365.
Yeah, this kind of goes to, there's a kind of a larger issue in the documents and the way that we've always recorded stuff. Okay, so right now it's basically when something happens in a meeting, you record it down and it's on that date, and in order to find this vote, you have to go to this date, today's date, and find it in the book and see who voted and it passed and all that kind of stuff. I think that we had talked about there's a grant out there that we're trying to, I think somebody's working on, that will go through and kind of catalog all the ordinances and stuff that, you know, that we've done throughout the years. And so if you want to look up Coon Creek, or you want to look up 1365 or whatever number you were saying, it would say, okay, well, it was started in 1963 and nothing's happened since then. And so the answer to that would be it would take about 2 minutes. But what I'm trying to say is you'd have to physically go through and, you know, make sure that it was put in and that it wasn't taken out.
Is that incumbent upon me, or would that be on you as a county to prove that it's no longer your route?
It's always incumbent upon the person that wants something.
Well, I mean,
even if it was a county road, like I said before, the county can choose not to maintain something. And the county right now might not be sure of something. So if you're the one that's going to get something out of it, you know, you might want to put in a little bit of elbow grease and say, hey, this was put in as a road. There's no record of it being taken out. You can if you want. And then it just becomes a question of political will.
Well, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, well, we met out there with Brandon, and Brandon was able to see some maps that we had, you know, that called it out as County Route 1365.
Does it
It's
show
even
it
on Google? If you want
for some reason, they have different maps floating around everywhere. Yeah. So, have you all looked? Is it on the county road list or?
The county, well, the map I have, or it's on the Kentucky Transportation website. The maintenance ends at the cemetery.
But the road keeps going.
The road, yeah, the road goes all the way back.
And it's 1365, correct? It is County Route 1360. I think, or what I think, in my opinion, I think the county stopped maintaining it when there was no more residents out there that qualify for that code of 2 or more separate residences.
Well, that's just the creation of the road. But yeah, it would make sense if there's somebody out there not to maintain it.
And 35 years ago, my father moved out there and maintained all that by himself, and which we understood that because he was the only one there. Now that I'm there and have been there for the last 2 years, as Brandon said, you know, the maintenance stops, but the road continues.
So does this list where it's talking about the maintenance, does that have anything to do with with the county roads or not? Because if the county road maintenance, if that changed, there should be some notation that it changed, and then you could go to that month and that year and see if the road was voted to be shortened.
Well, you know, the road has a certain mileage that's maintained, and then, you know, you start from the beginning and basically see how far it is, and that's where we usually stop. I mean, Terry, do you know where we're talking? You know where we're talking about, don't you? Right. And we've always stopped maintaining at the cemetery. Is that correct?
It was on the
16 years. 16 years.
What now?
I've not been past it.
Okay.
It was only maintained to the low water bridge about 20 years ago. And then my dad spoke with Sid Stewart. I can't remember, so many years ago. But then they extended maintenance to the cemetery. The road used to be all gravel all the way from what we call the Dark Holler there when you come into Morgan County from Menifee and you come, there used to be a lady there, I can't remember their last name, they lived on the left on the trailer, but that was all gravel, and then it was negotiated that they would blacktop that, and they did. And then they went and blacktopped down to the low water bridge, and they did. And then they stopped at the low water bridge, and then they took over gravel responsibilities to the city. Up until that time, my dad was maintaining all of that. So I understand, that, some of these maps call out maybe maintenance, but I can tell you in my lifetime, that's changed 3 or 4 times. Unfortunately, my dad's not here to testify to that. He passed away a couple years ago in a farming accident. But maintenance has jumped 3 times. Probably, we'll say, I'll just throw out a number, 2 miles from where I'm asking you to stop it at now. Then it went within 1.75 miles and a quarter mile at a time. To where it's at right now, at the low water bridge, up to the cemetery. That used to never be maintained until recently, last 10, 20 years. But the route has maintained, like I said, it's even on Google of all things, listed as 1365.
So the request right now is basically to extend the maintenance of the road
1,953 linear feet.
So approximately 2,000 feet.
About 3.75 linear, or tenths of a mile.
Does the court have the ability, Miles, to make a motion to do that, or do we have to?
It depends on if it's a county road. If it's a county road, you don't have to have a motion. You could say, hey, what do y'all think about this? And I mean, you could vote on whether to do it or not. You wouldn't have to advertise it, is what I'm trying to say in the paper. You wouldn't have to wait a month. But if you're saying it never was a county road, then you've got to advertise it. So.
You can put on your phone my address and it'll come up County Route 1471 and it'll put a dot right on my house. They had to have got their information from somewhere. Right. I mean, that's logical thinking. And it's even on the maps we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever you all view it to be, what the road foreman says.
I can't, I'm just going to be honest with you, I can't afford to maintain that kind of a route. I don't know what kind of data y'all keep, but there's been lots of medic runs back there, or some elderly folks living back there.
Got a question for you. Do you have anything in your deeds that says that was ever deeded over to the county?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
If the road's been created for a long time, then I mean.
It's simply always existed. I mean, Arthur.
Probably use it as you could say it's a public road, and then, do it with that way, but, it's what the road foreman says. If it was a county road in the past and it hasn't been taken out of the system, just because, if you have 2 miles worth of a county road and then you're like, well, nobody lives up in the last mile, so we only do this first mile.
Right.
Y'all can do that if you want to. That doesn't mean that the rest of it disappears out of the system. But now if you're saying, okay, it's always been a county road, we did it up to, we maintained it up to the cemetery, but now we want to maintain it longer, you can do that right now. If you say that it's not a county road past the cemetery, then you just got to wait a month. You got to put up notice and put it in the paper, and give people a chance that it might affect negatively to show up and tell the court that.
I've got it on Google right now showing it as County Route 1471 to County Route 1365. They got it from somewhere. And it goes past the cemetery.
And I guess the state, if it's on the state map, they just do what? Well, I don't have much luck with it. We've had all kinds of issues with that too.
What we have to go by is the state.
It's the state.
It's the state's map. I mean, is that what you, Anthony? Is that what you all use? Is the state
map?
Transportation?
I use the same one you all use,
That's online.
it's online, it's what I
Through the
use.
Kentucky Department of Transportation.
Yeah. And what I was gonna ask is, where you're wanting to extend it to, is it down there to the, where one of the houses over here?
That's correct.
You want to stop it right there?
Right there, yes.
You want
Yes,
to
sir.
stop right there where the little V?
Where the yucca plant
That's the reason I know that, I was out there on that tree, and I was,
turned around.
I turned around out there, and I went out there and went in and checked that part. I don't, what you said, 1,000 some foot or something? Now, the other end of that comes out the 1950 bridge down there below.
Correct. That's County Route 1471.
Now, that end's got a gate across it,
That's correct.
and it's pretty rough shape, because it goes up the, go across the creek and back up the hill. You know where we're talking about right down there? Old Archie Smith's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right there on the other side of the bridge, you turn left, and if you turn left, the way the old road went, but now it's got gates and everything up right now. You turn left there, because when I was he had to check there, we used to go around through our night horses to come out there on.
Right. There's no residence back in there, and it's been gated for years.
Yeah.
Sexton House still stands down there.
It's been years.
Been years.
Back in
Yeah.
there. I know what we're talking about now.
I personally think, just from my experience, which means nothing, but there hasn't been anyone lived in there previous to my dad 30 some odd years ago, 1930, 1920, down on Black Mark. But, you know, as people are coming into the area, just like me, just like my daughter, like my nephew, people are starting to move back in there. There are lots of residences that's there that I could take and show you in the woods. It's all rooted up. But that was an old county route.
Yeah, well, all the old, you're talking about those old foundations and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Old chimneys still standing out there. We sure appreciate the help. I mean, if ambulance comes to pick you up and you're not dead, you're going to be dead when you leave on the road. And we've had lots of medic friends back in there, so.
So our options are to, well, we never did get our feedback from the state. We asked the state for, you know, request for information, and they haven't gotten back to us yet.
Yeah.
And that kind of put us into that right now. What we come to, we got, the process is, it's not a county road according to the state map, right? And then we gotta go through that process.
That state map you look at, you keep saying that's what the state says we maintain. But as I was talking about before, maintaining and whether something's county road or not, city or things.
Yeah.
Does it say this map says this is maintained roads, or does this map say these are county road maintenance, all it says?
So they probably stopped maintenance on a county route because there wasn't anyone living back there at that time.
So, I mean, that's not really accurate of what the issue we're looking at.
Yeah, I wish Josh was still here from Gateway, because they're the ones that do this.
They do that.
Yeah, but you're right though, that is the key term every time they say that, they say maintenance. It's where maintenance stops on those.
Like I said, you can look on any one of your cell phones and just put in your Google Maps CR 1471, and it's going to pull up my address. And it'll pull up 1365 dead ending into it, or I'm asking you to terminate maintenance.
You the only person, or only landowner back there?
No, it's me and my stepmother now, with another one coming in this year. And I think, am I right, Miles, according to the code, it's 2 or more separate residences that
Yeah,
on a county route.
the road can't go 1 inch farther than the second to last person, because then that would be just serving one person, one family. I mean, if you're all worried about it, you can always, I mean, you always do the most conservative if you're worried about it. So if one of the things is, let's get it started tonight, let's do it, but then we worry about, do we do it right? And we can't find if the road was taken out, or we don't know when it was put in or anything like that, then the easiest thing to do would just be to go ahead and advertise it and do it next month. And that way you know you're complying with the law, even if it's, you know, you're doing it twice, at least you've done it once. Probably the easiest way.
You guys think? So you're saying go ahead and take it in tonight, and then
No, I'm just saying, you all say, hey, let's advertise this, that we're thinking about taking it in at the next meeting, and then
All right,
the next
yeah.
meeting, you say, anybody want to talk about this, and then you vote on it afterwards.
all right.
I've got the petitions here. Is there anything else I can do to help?
Do we post signs?
Yeah, I think you post signs, this is kind of like it's an addition / alteration, so I would say you post it around the road that's being affected, you post it out here at the front, you put it in the paper.
All right. So we do that, and then next month we vote on it.
Yes, sir. Do you need these petitions now, or is that something?
Yeah, you can give it,
Yeah.
you can give it to Linda if you'd like.
And go back, if you don't mind, go back and look at your deeds and see if there's anything that's ever been,
I can tell you it goes from this rock to that tree and
it doesn't talk about any easements or anything like that?
No, I tell you why I think this, Jim, is because those roads are ancient. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they're
very
old roads,
old, and probably predate a lot of the deeds that was even there.
Right.
You know, Arthur Sexton, who was 90 years old, it seemed like 50 years ago, delivered mail along both those county routes, and he talked about it all the time when he was a kid,
Yeah.
on mule. So, I mean, it's very
That's by
old.
the U.S. Postal Service too.
Did you say 1365 was the road number?
Yeah.
Yes, and 1471. So, you really need to use Google Maps on it. I've noticed a lot of Apple stuff has a hard time.
We'll go ahead and advertise it, and we'll do all this, and then next month we'll take a vote on it, and we'll go through the process.
I appreciate your all's consideration in the matter. Thank you very much. It'd be a very, very big help to us out there. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Jake. All right. Closed session.
Hey, when we talk about one thing, I know that you're moving forward and with swimming pool, and there's a lot of people that appreciate that. Could you give us a little rundown?
They come back in with the, right now we got a company that's giving us a complete quote on exactly the total cost it will take to open that pool. So hopefully they'll have that, and we got a special call meeting on the 12th, and if we have that information then, I'll be on the agenda, we'll talk about it. Should have it next week.
So we'll have a special call meeting on the 12th?
Yeah, we got a special call meeting on the 12th. You have that thing earlier? Do I have to vote on this report? Huh?
I was just messing with you.
Yeah, I know. You're winking at me tonight too.
Yeah, keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Setting have fun now. All right, you can go into a closed session, so we're going to go into motion.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, all right, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second to go in closed session to discuss litigations. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Hey, Aaron.